You know, at the very top of India's massive security forces, there's a huge fight brewing. We're talking about a new bill from Parliament that's basically on a collision course with a Supreme Court ruling. And the big question is, who should be leading these incredibly important forces?
So, what's really at the heart of this conflict? I mean, what's the big deal? Well, you've got Parliament on one side trying to lay down the law for who gets the top jobs, but on the other side, you've got the Supreme Court, which has already said something completely different. This is way more than just a legal argument, right? It's a real tug of war over power and control.
Okay, so the piece of paper at the center of all this is the Central Armed Police Forces Bill of 2026. The whole point of it, at least on the surface, is to finally create a clear set of rules for leadership, to sort out this debate that's been going on for years. And believe me, this bill doesn't mince words. It's proposing to reserve a massive chunk of the top jobs, specifically for officers from the Indian Police Service, the IPS. These are officers who come in on what's called deputation, basically a temporary tour of duty away from their state police force. And we're talking about some serious numbers here. Half of all inspector general posts, more than 2/3 of additional director general posts, and a full 100%, all of them, of the top director general jobs. This would pretty much lock in IPS leadership at the very top.
Okay, but before we dive any deeper into the arguments and the politics, let's just take a step back. Who are we even talking about here? What are the Central Armed Police Forces, or CAPS, and why is who leads them such a big deal? Right, so first things first, these are not your everyday local cops. These forces are the absolute backbone of India's national security. Think about it. You've got the BSF, guarding those intense borders with Pakistan and Bangladesh. The CISF, protecting every major airport and all that critical infrastructure. Then there's the massive CRPF, dealing with internal security, things like anti-Naxal operations. The SSB is holding down the Nepal and Bhutan frontiers. And of course, the ITBP is right there on that crucial line with China. I mean, what they do is absolutely essential. And the scale here, it's just mind-boggling. We're talking about a total of about 1 million personnel. That's 10 lakh. So you can see this isn't some small interdepartmental disagreement. This is about the leadership and, frankly, the morale of a force that's bigger than the entire army of many countries. So you might be asking, why this bill and why right now? Well, this move by the government didn't just come out of the blue. It was actually a direct reaction to a huge decision that came down from the Supreme Court. Okay, so let's trace the steps that got us here, because the timeline really tells the story. Back in May 2025, the Supreme Court drops this bombshell ruling. It tells the government to cut back on the number of IPS officers on deputation. And this is the key part. It gives the CAPFs what's called organized service status. The government wasn't happy, asked for review. And in October, the court basically said, nope, our decision stands. So what happens next? By March 2026, the government comes back with this new bill. It's a pretty clear legislative counterpunch. So, what in the world is an Organized Group A's service, or OGAS? It sounds like a bunch of jargon, but trust me, it's a really big deal. Basically, it means a service is a properly structured career path with its own promotions and hierarchy, just like the super prestigious IAS or the IPS. So when the court granted CAPF officers this status, it was really paving the way for them to rise all the way to the top of their own organizations, from the inside. And that really brings us to the core of this whole thing. You've got two completely different ideas about how leadership in the CAPFs should work. Let's break down the arguments from both camps. So on one side, you have the CAPF officers themselves. They're saying, hey, this new bill completely shuts the door on our careers, and it totally goes against a Supreme Court ruling. They'll point out that their counterparts from the IPS can get 3 or 4 promotions in the same time it takes them to get just 1. But then on the other side, you have the government's justification. They argue that having IPS officers in charge is critical for coordinating security between the central government and the states. It's a national security thing, they say, because IPS officers have that ground-level experience in state policing. And listen to this quote from retired CAPF officials. It really hits home just how personal this is. An officer who joins at the rank of an assistant commandant does not get a promotion even after 16 years of service. Can you imagine that? You join a force, you put in the years, and for 16 years you don't get a single promotion? All while you're watching officers from a different service come in temporarily and climb the ladder way faster. That's really the heart of the frustration we're hearing about. But you know, this whole thing brings up a much bigger, more fundamental question about how the country is run. Opposition MPs are arguing that this isn't just about jobs and promotions. It's about the separation of powers. The question they're asking is, can Parliament just pass a new law to cancel out what a court has already ordered without even dealing with the legal reasons for that court's decision? This really gets at the delicate balance between our lawmakers and our judiciary. So, where do things stand right now? The battle lines are drawn, the stakes are incredibly high, and this story is far from over. The next big step, the immediate battlefield, is Parliament. This CAPF Bill 2026 is going to be debated, probably amended, and then it's going to face a vote. The future of who leads these million-strong forces is literally going to be decided in those halls. And that leaves all of us with the big final question, doesn't it? Is this new law from Parliament actually going to solve this leadership crisis and bring some clarity? Or is it just going to be seen as a power grab that makes the rift between the government and the Supreme Court even deeper? The answer is going to affect India's security for a long, long time, and it's a debate we should all be keeping a very close eye on.
You can download the complete notes of this video from the pinned comment below. If this video helped, do like and subscribe to the BriefCase for daily visual explanations.